What happens when love, lies, prison bars, and betrayal all collide? Welcome to the world of Love After Lockup, where some of the most jaw-dropping relationships unfold on camera. But among all the drama, cheating, and chaos this show has given us over the years, one couple stands out as the absolute most toxic pairing in the entire franchise history. Today, we're diving deep into why this relationship was a complete disaster from start to finish. Trust me, you won't believe what you're about to hear. So, who takes the crown as the most toxic couple in Love After Lockup history? After analyzing all the drama across multiple seasons, the answer has to be Sarah and Michael Simmons. This couple appeared in season 2 and quickly became the face of everything wrong with prison relationships. Their story is a masterclass in manipulation, infidelity, and emotional abuse that stretched across multiple seasons. Sarah and Michael's relationship started when they were teenagers. They fell in love young and even had their first daughter, Aviana, before Michael ended up behind bars for a 3-year sentence. Like many couples on the show, Sarah stayed loyal, visiting him in prison, accepting his collect calls, and dreaming of the day they could be a proper family. Here's where things get twisted. While Michael was locked up, Sarah decided to take their relationship to the next level. They got married while he was still serving his time. She believed this would cement their bond and prove her commitment. What Sarah didn't know was that Michael had a secret that would blow up her entire world. When Michael was released from prison, Sarah was beyond excited to finally have her husband home. She had waited years for this moment. She had raised their daughter alone, stayed faithful, and kept their family together. But the reunion she imagined quickly turned into a nightmare. Enter Megan, a woman from Texas who believed she was Michael's girlfriend. That's right, Michael had been running a full-blown relationship with another woman while he was in prison and while married to Sarah. Megan had no idea Michael was married. She had given him her virginity and thought they were planning a future together. She was completely blindsided when she discovered the truth. The love triangle that unfolded was absolutely brutal to watch. Michael didn't just cheat on Sarah once, he actively maintained relationships with multiple women, playing them all against each other. Megan confronted Michael after his release, asking him directly if he planned to stay married to Sarah. He told her no, promising he would hire a lawyer and get a divorce. These were lies. Meanwhile, Sarah found out about Megan and was devastated. But here's what makes this so toxic. Despite learning about the affair, despite the lies and betrayal, Sarah stayed. She didn't just stay, she got pregnant with their second daughter, Gianna. Michael had convinced her to give their marriage another chance, only to continue his pattern of cheating and manipulation. What makes Michael and Sarah's relationship the most toxic isn't just the cheating, it's the psychological manipulation that Michael used to keep Sarah hanging on. He would tell Megan he wanted a divorce from Sarah, then turn around and sleep with Sarah, telling her they were working on their marriage. He played both women expertly, knowing exactly what to say to keep them both invested. Michael later admitted in interviews that he didn't love Sarah anymore. He described their marriage as toxic and claimed he only stayed in contact with her to see his daughter. Yet, he continued sleeping with her, giving her false hope, and stringing her along. This is textbook emotional manipulation. But it didn't stop with just 2 women. After Megan, Michael moved on to another woman named Maria in Miami. Sarah was still legally married to him at this point, still raising their 2 daughters alone in upstate New York, and still hoping they could work things out. Michael, meanwhile, was living his best life in Florida, dating whoever he wanted, with zero regard for his wife or children. On the show, Michael even explained that he and Sarah were in an open relationship. He said he cared about Sarah but was just enjoying himself and having conversations with different women. The problem? Sarah never agreed to an open relationship. This was another manipulation tactic to justify his behavior while keeping Sarah on the hook. Watching Sarah's journey on Love After Lockup and Life After Lockup is heartbreaking. Here's a woman who fell in love as a teenager, stayed loyal through years of incarceration, got married believing in forever, and then got repeatedly betrayed and humiliated on national television. Sarah has been incredibly transparent about her struggles. In interviews, she admitted that discovering Michael's cheating was a complete shock. She had believed in their relationship and couldn't understand how the man she loved could lie to her so effortlessly. The betrayal cut deep because it wasn't just romantic. It affected their children, their family stability, and her sense of self-worth. What makes this relationship extra toxic is the cycle Sarah got trapped in. Every time she tried to leave Michael, he would reel her back in. He would visit the kids, play the family man role for a few weeks, sleep with Sarah, and then disappear again to pursue other women. This pattern repeated over and over across multiple seasons. Sarah tried to move on. She started dating a man named Malcolm, who seemed to genuinely care about her and her daughters. But even that relationship was complicated by Michael's presence. He would show up unannounced, act jealous and possessive, and undermine Sarah's attempts to build a new life. The moment Sarah showed interest in moving forward, Michael would swoop back in. Not because he wanted to be with her, but because he couldn't stand losing control. Viewers have criticized Sarah harshly for staying in this toxic situation. People wondered why she couldn't just file for divorce and move on. But anyone who understands abuse and manipulation knows it's never that simple. Michael had years to build his psychological hold over Sarah. She had 2 young daughters with him. She kept hoping he would change and become the father and husband she needed him to be. The toxicity of Michael and Sarah's relationship had real-world consequences beyond heartbreak and drama. Michael's pattern of irresponsible behavior eventually caught up with him. In recent years, Michael has been arrested multiple times, including charges for child neglect in Florida. This is a man who claimed he stayed connected to Sarah for his daughters, yet his actions showed complete disregard for their well-being. Sarah finally filed for divorce, though reports indicate the process dragged on for years because they remained legally married long after their relationship ended. Even in interviews as recently as 2023, Sarah admitted they were still technically married, which she acknowledged with frustration. This shows how difficult it was for her to fully break free from Michael's control. Michael continues to cycle through relationships and legal troubles. His life became a pattern of charming women, using them for support or money, and then moving on when things got complicated. Multiple cast members from the show have noted that Michael represents one of the biggest challenges of the Love After Lockup experience. Shane and Lacey Whitlow are often mentioned as another extremely toxic couple from the show, and they certainly deserve that reputation. Their relationship involved a messy love triangle where Lacey was engaged to one inmate, John, while dating another inmate, Shane. She married Shane but continuously went back to John whenever things got difficult. Shane struggled with mental health issues, allegations of violence, and eventually an arrest for animal cruelty. Their relationship was unstable, harmful, and complicated by addiction and infidelity on both sides. So why do Michael and Sarah take the crown as the most toxic Love After Lockup couple ever? Several reasons set them apart from other problematic pairings on the show. First, the level of manipulation was extraordinary. Michael didn't just cheat. He orchestrated elaborate lies involving multiple women over years. He convinced Sarah to marry him while maintaining a relationship with Megan. He promised Megan a future while staying legally married. He moved to Miami for Maria while still sleeping with Sarah. Every action was calculated to benefit him while showing zero respect for anyone else's feelings. Second, the impact on children makes this situation especially disturbing. Sarah and Michael have 2 daughters who watched their father come and go, make promises he didn't keep, and treat their mother with disrespect. Children are always the invisible victims in toxic relationships, and in this case, they were caught in the middle of their parents' dysfunction for years while it played out on television. Third, the power imbalance was severe. Michael knew Sarah loved him and would keep giving him chances. He exploited that love repeatedly. Every time Sarah tried to establish boundaries or move on, Michael would manipulate the situation to his advantage. He used their children as leverage, knowing Sarah wanted them to have a relationship with their father. Fourth, the public humiliation was relentless. Unlike couples who had private struggles that were later documented, Michael's cheating and manipulation happened while cameras rolled. Sarah had to watch episodes where Michael went on dates with other women, admitted he wasn't in love with her anymore, and described their marriage as toxic, all while she was still trying to make things work. The emotional abuse was broadcast for millions to see. Finally, the relationship never truly ended. Even years after they should have moved on, Michael and Sarah remained entangled. This prolonged toxicity caused continuous harm rather than a clean break that would allow healing. The Michael and Sarah saga teaches viewers several important lessons about toxic relationships. The first is that love alone cannot fix fundamental problems. Sarah loved Michael deeply, but love wasn't enough to change his behavior or heal their relationship. He had to want to change, and he clearly didn't. Second, manipulation can be difficult to recognize when you're inside the relationship. From the outside, viewers could easily see Michael was using Sarah. Third, the sunk cost fallacy keeps people trapped. Sarah had invested years in this relationship. She had 2 children with Michael. She had gotten married believing in forever. Walking away felt like admitting failure and wasting all that time, but staying only created more pain and wasted more years. Fourth, patterns of behavior don't change without serious intervention. Michael showed who he was repeatedly. Each time Sarah gave him another chance, he did the same things: cheating, lying, manipulation, then temporary remorse, followed by more cheating. The cycle never broke because Michael never faced real consequences. Finally, public pressure and judgment don't help people leave toxic relationships. Sarah faced enormous criticism from viewers who couldn't understand why she stayed. But shame and judgment only make it harder for people to leave because it adds another layer of failure. What abuse survivors need is support, understanding, and resources, not harsh criticism. While Michael and Sarah take the top spot, Love After Lockup has given us plenty of other toxic relationships worth mentioning. These couples show different types of dysfunction and remind us that prison relationships come with unique challenges that most people can't imagine. Scott and Lizzie's relationship was financially exploitative. Scott spent his entire life savings supporting Lizzie while she was in prison, sending her thousands of dollars, which she used to buy drugs. When she was released, she left him almost immediately after discovering he was broke. Lizzie gaslighted Scott to the point of tears, and they never even consummated their relationship. The relationship was so one-sided that Scott eventually turned to heroin himself, a devastating consequence of the manipulation he experienced. Lindsay and Scott's relationship was marked by criminal behavior and lack of appreciation. Lindsay served 4 years for drug and firearm possession, and Scott uprooted his entire life to support her after his son's death. She showed no gratitude, didn't trust him, and eventually destroyed his office, threw his laptop in the rain, and scattered his belongings across the lawn before ending up back in prison. Clint and Tracy had a roller coaster relationship fueled by addiction. They got married the day of Tracy's release, but she got high on drugs that same day, stole their rental car, Clint's phone, and his cash, leaving behind only her wedding ring and dress. Despite this, they repeatedly got back together, showing how addiction complicates already difficult relationships. Andrea and Lamar's relationship involved significant sacrifice without appreciation. Andrea moved her 3 children from Utah to California to support Lamar's parole requirements. She gave up her stable suburban life for a man who showed questionable commitment. Andrea was also criticized for being overly critical of Lamar, while never reflecting on her own toxic behavior. Their relationship struggled with compatibility issues that probably should have ended the relationship early on. Understanding why couples like Michael and Sarah get so toxic requires looking at the psychology of prison relationships. These romances start under artificial circumstances. Communication is limited, controlled, and often monitored. The person in prison is presenting their best self because they need support from the outside. They need money for commissary, someone to accept their phone calls, and emotional connection during isolation. This creates an unrealistic foundation. The person on the outside falls in love with an idealized version of their partner. They don't see the everyday struggles, the bad habits, the real personality that emerges during normal life stress. When the inmate is released, reality hits hard. Suddenly, they're dealing with job searches, parole officers, temptations, and freedom after years of control. Many can't handle it. Additionally, people who pursue relationships with inmates often have their own issues. They might have low self-esteem, fear of abandonment, or a savior complex. They believe they can fix someone or that the relationship is special because they stayed loyal during incarceration. This makes them vulnerable to manipulation. The power dynamic is also problematic. The person on the outside holds power by providing financial support and maintaining the connection, but the incarcerated person holds emotional power by being the one who could leave or cheat. After release, these power dynamics shift and clash, creating instability. So there you have it. Michael and Sarah Simmons are undoubtedly the most toxic couple in Love After Lockup history. Their relationship had everything: lies, cheating, manipulation, emotional abuse, public humiliation, and a cycle that went on for years. What started as a teenage love story turned into a cautionary tale about the dangers of staying in relationships where one person repeatedly shows they don't respect or value their partner. Sarah's story is particularly heartbreaking because she clearly wanted to believe in love and family. She tried so hard to make it work, but you can't build a healthy relationship with someone who refuses to be honest and faithful. Michael's pattern of behavior hurt not just Sarah, but also Megan, Maria, and most importantly, his 2 daughters who deserved better from their father. The lesson here is clear. When someone shows you who they are, believe them the first time. Don't wait for the 2nd, 3rd, or 10th betrayal. Your time, your emotional energy, and your self-worth are too valuable to waste on someone who treats you as an option rather than a priority. Love After Lockup continues to document these complex relationships, giving us new toxic couples with each season. But Michael and Sarah's saga remains the gold standard of dysfunction. Their relationship is a reminder that prison bars aren't the only thing that can trap you. Sometimes the most dangerous prison is the one we build ourselves when we refuse to let go of someone who is actively hurting us. If you enjoyed this deep dive into reality TV's most toxic relationship, make sure to like this video and subscribe for more content. What do you think? Is there another Love After Lockup couple that rivals Michael and Sarah's toxicity? Drop your thoughts in the comments below. Thanks for watching, and remember, sometimes the most loving thing you can do for yourself is walk away.